So yesterday we were talking about uh, opportunity everywhere, and the truth of the matter is, there is opportunity everywhere in this pandemic era where things are just on tilt. The opportunity for starting a business is incredible. Now is the time. I kept emphasizing that over and over again yesterday. So the reality is that starting a business is not um, easy a lot of times because there's so many pieces to it, and that's probably one of the many reasons why people don't they just don't start a business. I mean, there's other tangible reasons like they're afraid of losing their insurance, health insurance, or they're afraid of losing, um, you know, uh, that standard regular paycheck. I mean, there's other things that are happening. Maybe the 401k, they don't want to lose out on those matching funds. So there's some psychological and tangible reasons why people just don't always start a business. What I wanted to talk to you about today is this idea of whether or not starting a business is right for you. Because honestly, it isn't for everyone. I mean, as much as I'd like to say that anyone can be an entrepreneur, and truthfully, anyone can be, but there is a mental game that goes along with being a business owner. There is this idea of being okay with risk, being okay with a lot of unknown. And so you'll want to consider those things as you're moving forward. But the most important question that you should be asking yourself if you're going to start a business is, what is your motivation? Why is it that you're trying to start a business? If you're starting a business, um, because it's you just want to get out of the rat race, well, that is a fantastic, reason to want to get out of that race. Um, I mean, quite frankly, I don't like being in the corporate world. And so it was better for me to find opportunities to work for myself. Quite frankly, you can see I'm not wearing a tie. In fact, my if I back up far enough, my shirt isn't even tucked in. I don't like the corporate world. I don't like the 9 to 5. So for me, it was getting out of the rat race. But there are other reasons why you should think about this. Are you wanting to have the freedom to make money without a boss? There's a little misnomer there about the boss thing. Um, just because you don't have a boss doesn't mean that you don't have things that you have to report to, people that you have to report to. Um, let's just face it. If you are married and um, your spouse is your boss, I mean, I don't mean that in the sense of they tell you what to do. Well, maybe they do, but my point is that you do have responsibility to your spouse and to your kids if you have kids, or any other extended family that is with you. So my point is, just because you want to get away from your job boss doesn't mean that you aren't going to have reporting issues as you go in your own business. So um, the point is, even though these are valid reasons, get out of the corporate rat race, get away from the 9 to 5, not have your own boss, make your own money, have your own freedom. And I talked about that yesterday. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to be able to decide that you want to go on vacation for a month, a working vacation, let's say? Well, let's say that you're going to the beach and you're going to work from the beach house, and you go to the private airport and you get on, a private jet, and you fly an hour to, South Florida somewhere, and you get out and you go to the beach house for a month. That's great. And that is a great idea. But there's a lot of work that goes into getting there. Now, all of these are valid reasons to want to start your own business. But you still need to focus on the business. You're a business owner. You've got to focus on that and the needs of your business. And if you're going to have employees, the needs of your employees. And definitely you need to focus on the needs of your potential customers. So while there is this romantic notion about being your own boss, and I'm not trying to talk you out of being your own boss, what I'm trying to do is lay the foundation for you to walk clear headed into starting your own business. You have to realize that you're not going to start out at the 6, 7 figure mark and you're going to have the private jet and the Lamborghini or the Maserati or whatever your flavor is and the fancy house, and you have 16 different houses, and your spouse has nice clothes and jewelry and whatever. You have to take care of business. And in fact, the early stages of your business is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be late nights, it's going to be hard work. Um, the motivation has to be there. What is that motivation? What is motivating you? For a business to be successful, your product or service offered needs to solve a problem. I mentioned that yesterday. You want to go back and watch that video. You have to solve a problem. What is the problem that you're solving? Your job isn't to make money as an entrepreneur. This is probably the biggest myth of the word entrepreneur, is that you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to own your own business so that you can make money. The truth of the matter is, money is secondary to the reason why. The reason for being in business is because you have a solution to a problem that's in the market that no one else can do the way you do it. And your job is not to make money, but to provide value to the customer, to the consumer, to the marketplace. You are there to add value to that. So when you think about what is it, why are you wanting to start a business? If your idea of starting a business is to get, filthy rich, have fancy stuff, nice stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, as a pastor I heard preach one time said, there's nothing evil about money and stuff. It's when you worship the money, when the money is more important than your spouse or your kids or your extended family or your friends or your neighbors, when the money part is all consuming, you're going to miss the point of going into business. Now again, it's okay to have the money as a motivator in there, but if you aren't meeting the needs of a customer, then your gains will be short term, meaning you'll make some money in a short period of time, but the idea is to be consistent over a long period of time. Do you think, just think about this for a minute, think of Walmart. Sam Walton, by the way, if you ever want to read an interesting book, go find a copy of Made in the USA. It's the story of Sam Walton. I had to read it when I was an undergraduate at the University of Tampa back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so that book's been around for a while. Go read Made in America, Made in the USA. Do you think that Sam Walton started, by the way, a 5 and dime store? We call them dollar stores or $1.25 stores now because of inflation. But he started a 5 and dime or a dollar store. Let's just call it a dollar store for modern purposes. Do you think that he imagined that his family would become one of the wealthiest families in the world, billionaires, that he would have made multi-millionaire and billionaires out of his friends and family by starting a 5 and dime? He wanted to provide a product and a service at a reasonable price. That's all he wanted to do. And he wasn't really interested in the trappings of money. In fact, when you read the book, Made in the USA, or Made in America, I can't remember the exact title. You'll have to go look it up. It's a Sam Walton story. When you read the book, he used to fly around the country in a little Cessna airplane. He'd fly himself to the different towns that had a Walmart in it. And so he didn't have a pilot. He didn't have a Learjet. He didn't have anything fancy. He actually probably dressed a lot like me when you think about it. I mean, he was, blue jeans and flannel shirt. And he would drive around in this ratty pickup truck with his dog. He was not focused on the money. And he was the richest man at the time. He was one of the richest men in the country at the time. So you have to ask yourself, why are you going into business? Yes, it's important that you have something that pushes you there, like you want to get out of the rat race, you want to make more money, you want to have more freedom. But at the end of the day, if that's all it's about for you, you're not going to be in business very long. It's got to be all about providing a product, a service, adding value to the customer. I'm hoping that by doing these videos that I add value to the market for someone who is desperately wanting to get out of the 9 to 5, desperately wanting to have the freedom. That I hope that I add value there. If I make money down the road, that's fantastic, but my goal is to help people break free of their 9 to 5. And the only way I know to do that is to tell you that you have to have a solution to a problem that's in the marketplace, and you have to focus on creating value in that solution every single day for the consumer. Now, if we get to this point where you say, okay, I know what the problem is, I know what the solution is, and I know how to add value every day to the marketplace and the consumer, then we have to ask ourselves, have you done market research? What is that? Before you start a business, before you do anything, you need to zero in on your unique offer, your unique selling proposition. What is it that makes you, your product, your service unique outside of what everyone else is doing? Look, there are a lot of other coaches and consultants out there doing what I'm doing, and they all have different personalities. So one of my unique selling positions is that I have 30 years of business experience. I actually have started and built and sold successful businesses. I've worked for multi-million-dollar corporations. I've been a leader in them. I've started businesses. I've consulted. I've done this over and over again successfully. So one of my unique selling positions for my customer or my potential customer is this ability to bring real world ideas, real world solutions, real world feedback into the conversation. And I do it in a group setting, I do it in a one-on-one setting, and I do it in training. Now, the other part to this is that I actually am a certified higher education instructor through online modality, meaning I teach online because I've done it for years. You could say I'm a professor, but I don't want to focus in on my credentials. What I want to do is focus in on the fact that I'm teaching people how to start a business at the very basic level so that it doesn't seem like you're trying to do astrophysics just to start your business. But you need to do market research in order to understand what the need is out there. You need a solid business idea. Just because there's a problem and you think you have a solution doesn't mean you have the solid business idea. You have to develop it. Ideas are only as good as the market demand. Just because there's a problem in the market and you have a solution for that problem doesn't mean that the market demands that. Now, you could create the demand. I mean, let's think about it. Not even 20 years ago, we didn't have a smartphone. This device here is more powerful than the first computer that I ever had in my life. And in many respects, it's almost as powerful as the two laptops that are in front of me right now. Steve Jobs with Apple had the foresight, the vision to see that there would be a demand for a smartphone. Now, you could argue that there's the cult of Apple. People like, anytime Apple comes out with something, they flock and stand in lines for 6 months just to get whatever the latest and greatest, newest thing is, even if all they did was add like a little button to it. It's just crazy. But the point is that he saw the opportunity. He was able to foresee, and might I add, very well, that the smartphone would be the next thing. And you think about this, the smartphone, well, the cell phone in itself, but the smartphone specifically destroyed several different markets. It really changed the landline market, the Bell telephones of the world. It changed long distance. I can make a phone call through the internet on my phone. So it changed a lot of things. But just because your idea, solves a problem, you need to make sure there is a demand for it. The one thing you could do is look around, see if anyone else is doing it or doing something similar to it. That would be your first step. But you can also look at whether or not there's the potential for the demand. You could go around and survey people. You can ask them if they would like to try your product or your service for 30 days. There's ways to create demand for something, but you don't want to force demand on something. There are products out there, and the easiest or low hanging fruit example is to think about any of these seen on TV, infomercials. I'm old enough to remember this guy called Ron Popeil. Look him up, Ron Popeil. He was an infomercial king, basically. And he had all of these different products that solved a problem. And they were kind of quirky many times. But that didn't mean that there was necessarily a huge demand for it. Now, he did make a buttload of money, okay, doing these seen on TV commercials. He was the infomercial king. He basically started the whole infomercial, era, if you will. But ideally, there should already be an existing demand in the market for your product or your service. It's important to test the viability of your idea. That means you've got to have samples. You got to have people try it in the real world settings. You have to go out and you have to really hustle it, right? Market research will help you determine if there is a demand for your product or service. It'll also tell you if your business idea is one that will generate interest and whether or not people will pay for what you plan to offer. Now, again, I mentioned this yesterday. I'm not going to dig deep into this today, but there is a whole process on how to do pricing. You don't want to come out with a widget. That's what we call just a vanilla idea of a product, whatever it is. Fill in the blank. It could be a car. It could be a candle. Okay, whatever your widget is. Let's say this pen. I came out with this pen. It's a dark highlighter, fine liner pen, and I'm going to sell this pen for $780. Now, do you think I'm going to sell very many Papermate flare medium tip pens for $780? Maybe if they're encased in gold and diamonds, I might, sell it. Maybe there's a niche market for that. But I can go buy this at the dollar store for $1. So you need to make sure that your pricing is part of that market research. Find out what other companies are charging for it. When I was starting out as a coach and consultant, I did a lot of research. And by the way, when I started, it was 2005, and there wasn't a lot of internet research to be had. Now, since then, I've done a lot of research. And so I have an idea of what people are offering, what the different items are, the services, and so forth. Whatever your product or service is, whatever your solution to the problem in the market is, you need to do market research. That includes, or is anyone else selling it or something like it, even closely resembling it. And how much are they selling it for? And would a consumer buy it? And then there's other things you need to look at. Are you going to position yourself as a niche market, or as I call it Walmart market? You're going to try to sell for the lowest price. You're the low price leader. Gauging interest is simple, honestly. You can conduct online surveys. You can do free things like SurveyMonkey. You can talk to other people, and that's the most valuable thing you could do. You could say, "Hey, would you be interested in something like this if it were available in purple?" And you could buy it for 50 cents. I mean, you can run these by people. Talk to other people that have had successful businesses. They don't even have to be in the same vein of product or service that you're looking at. Ask them about the challenges they face. Do your research. And then, as you move along, you'll have to look at the type of business structure you'll need. You're going to need to look at licenses and insurance and registration, and whether or not you're going to have a website. And then the big one, do you need a coach or a consultant to help you with that? Now, this can be very important. The reason why I do what I do is because I teach people. I have free training on my website. I do these free videos live on my Facebook page, but I also coach and mentor one-on-one and in groups. So if you see value in that, coaches and mentors can guide you, and they can give you an enormous amount of wisdom to help you build your business. They can also give you street smarts. Trust me, I have made a lot of mistakes in my time. I started a business with less than $100 in my pocket, and I built that business over 3 years. We were featured in all sorts of magazines and newspaper articles. And 3 years after we started it, for a series of reasons, we made the decision to sell it, and we sold it for a profit. And it was the hardest work I'd ever done in my life. It was hard, it was tough, but it was the best time of my life. We were making money at the end, and then we sold it, and I ended up going into coaching and mentoring like I'm doing right now. So you can get a lot of help from someone like me. So if you're needing additional information, you want to get started, you might want to go over to my website, MaximumChange.com. Check out the free training that's there. I have a lot of training. We also do some, coaching and mentoring that's there. And I encourage you to really think about that. Now, let's tie this all together. Is starting a business right for you? Only you can answer that question. I don't know if it's right for you or not. You have to go through the soul searching. Just because you can't stand your boss, or you can't stand the job that you're doing, or the company you're working for. I mentioned yesterday, we're in the middle of the Great Resignation. We're in the resignation pandemic right now. People are resigning. And what are they doing? And I mentioned yesterday, there's opportunity everywhere. You can find problems in the marketplace. You can find things that need to be fixed. You might even be sitting there in your own, place of work right now as you're eating your sandwich or soup, and you're thinking, I could do this better. I can do this, more with more agility. I can do this and offer it for less money. All that is great. Do not jump into owning your own business because you're miserable. You have to go into owning your own business with eyes wide open. I don't sugarcoat it. It's going to take a lot of work. I'm not sugarcoating it. But I'm going to tell you, if you truly have the, I call it my spirit animal, the essence of entrepreneurship within you, if it's like you can't breathe unless you did this, you need to really think long and hard about starting a business. If you want to talk to somebody, if you want some input, I'd be more than happy to chat with you. you can send me an email, send it to info at maximumchange.com, or you can go over to our website and hit the contact tab up in the upper right-hand corner there, or down at the bottom, and contact me. You can send a message through Facebook. Love to talk to you. Love to give you some input. Would love to see you free and an entrepreneur just like me. Okay, my name is Dr. Foster. I am the founder of Maximum Change, and I am here to help. And I look forward to seeing you or talking to you very soon. Hope you have a great day. Have a great weekend. See you Monday. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and follow us buttons.